Hello guys, this is Crimson Dante Gamer, and today I'm bringing a quick video about RTX 2080 and 2080 Ti gaming benchmarks versus the 1080 Ti. So, the performance difference between the 1080 Ti versus the RTX 2080 Ti is about 30%, and the RTX 2080 versus the 1080 Ti is about roughly about 17 to even 10% performance difference. So this is the benchmark of Battlefield 1. You get 89 FPS on 2080 Ti, 72, which this is about 30% difference, 72 FPS on the RTX. This and this is about 30% difference. You get 89 FPS on the RTX 2080 Ti, and the GTX 1080 Ti is about 30% difference. I can even prove it right here on the calculator. 89, you get roughly about 30% performance difference. So is $1,200 worth for a RTX 2080 Ti? No. For $1,000? Yes. For $1,000, it's worth the price tag for the 2080 Ti. Now, if you get 50% performance boost on every single game versus a 1080 Ti, then yeah, it's worth buying the RTX 2080 Ti for $1,200, because then that means that the 1080 Ti will absolutely get smashed in SLI versus the RTX 2080 Ti, or it will be equivalent to it, the RTX 2080 Ti, if it fought two GTX 1080 Ti's in SLI for $1,200. It better be on par with two GTX 1080 Ti's on SLI, which in this case, since this is the performance difference I see, a GTX 1080 Ti SLI will actually beat the RTX 2080 Ti on the games that supports SLI. So is this worth the price? No. If you look at eBay, the graphics cards just for the 2080 is selling for a lot higher. Now, granted, if you find it for $710, it's completely worth the price for the performance gap, because the performance, again, from an RTX 2080 versus a 1080 Ti is about 17 to 10%. There was like one or two games that was shown in the benchmark, this F1, that it had a really low, slight benchmark difference. This is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Oh, there it is, Hitman. Very, very slight difference in performance. This is about 10% more performance versus the 2080, and the RTX 2080 Ti is about 30% better than the 1080 Ti, unfortunately. So you're not getting your money worth for the 2080 Ti. Whoever bought those cards for $1,200 or pre-ordered them, you lost, man. You lost the price here. So for people that are waiting, I honestly recommend you to wait for at least a new next-gen card, maybe 7nm GPUs, because the price for $1,200 for RTX 2080 Ti is only 30% performance boost versus a $1,200 price tag. Not worth the price, man. In fact, this card is even selling for a lot higher on eBay. I even saw prices that were going all the way up to $2,000. So my recommendation is, if you really want to upgrade and you only have a GTX 1080, right? So if you're going for a GTX RTX 2080, yes, that will be a nice upgrade for you, because you're roughly getting about 30-ish, maybe even more performance. Let's look at the calculator real quick. So a GTX 1080 is about 79 FPS, and that one, it was 123. Yes, you get quite a bit of performance. So from a GTX 1080 to a 2080, yes, it's perfectly worth the price for buying it for $710 or even $750. It's worth that price. For the 2080 Ti, I don't really see it anymore for $1,000 for the price that we see here. For the performance that we see here, which is 30% on all the games that was shown here. Now, unless it supports DLSS, the game, which, to be fair, there's not that many games that supports DLSS. Out of those 11, 12 games that you see underneath here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, where was I? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 games. Out of those 16 games, about 6 games are known. You know, they're really known. Oh, wait. These are RTX from the book. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, 16 games. So, out of those games, like Ark Survival Evolved is one of those games that is known. Final Fantasy 15 is another game. Hitman 2 is another game. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is another game that is known. Serious Sam 4, I guess, is known. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a known game. So yeah, 6 games really out of these 16 games that is gonna support the DLSS. Now the games above is gonna support RTX, which RTX will be only playable on 1080p. So have fun with a 1080p while I'm gonna join a higher resolution monitor for that price, you know. So recap real quick: RTX 2080, if you can find it for $710 to $750, is worth the buy. Versus a GTX 1080. If you have a GTX 1080, you can go ahead and upgrade to a 2080. If you spend $710 more, it's worth spending that money because you're getting an extra 40% performance plus DLSS for the certain games that supports it, which you would get an extra 60% performance versus the GTX 1080 for the games that supports DLSS. So is it worth $710? Yes, I think it is. $710 to $750, it's worth the price. Now the 2080 Ti, I saw so many versions of this card, and I even saw this card going all the way above $2,000 for this card. Not worth a penny. Now for $1,000, yes, it's perfectly worth the $300, $400 that you're gonna spend for a 1080 Ti to buy an RTX 2080 Ti. Now, this is all I had to say. Now, if you want to know more about this, go visit GamerMeld. I'm going to leave his channel underneath my description below. This has been Crimson Dumping Gamer talking about the value of money and performance. By the way, just one more thing. One last thing I want to say is that if you are honestly buying this card for $2,000, you honestly don't value money at all. And most people that value money, you know, have a sense that money is everything that you need to survive. I mean, one of the main things that you need to survive in this world. And if you don't value money, then personally, you're not a really, you know, good human being. You know, like, what kind of person are you if you don't value money? You have to value money in life because money doesn't come out of thin air. No matter how rich you are, money does not come out of thin air, man. Unless you're a spoiled brat and you inherited money from your parents or grandparents or whatever, then that's free money. But money that you worked for, you would realize that spending that much money on the RTX 2080 Ti is not worth it. It's not because you're broke. Believe me, if I had $1 million to build a computer, I will still not buy the RTX 2080 Ti, no matter how much you're gonna tell me I'm broke. Which right now I am actually spending money on a system plus a monitor plus a keyboard and mouse, a mouse pad, and a desk I'm buying for my aunt on the same price that a RTX 2080 Ti costs. Alright? So I could buy a RTX 2080 Ti if I want to. Doesn't mean that I'm broke and I can't afford it. It's just I don't want to afford it because I don't see any value for the RTX 2080. I just don't see it. Now for $1,000, yes, I see the value in that card. Even so, it's still a lot of money for a graphics card, but the value is there. So buying it for $1,000 on RTX 2080 Ti for the performance you're getting, yes, it's perfectly worth it because you're only getting about 30% performance. You have a better chance on getting more FPS with 2 GTX 1080 Ti's on SLI on games that you're playing, because a lot more games support 1080 Ti SLI than a single RTX 2080 Ti, which only about 6 known games support this new DLSS technology. Maybe in the future this card will be more worth it, but as of right now, not worth a single penny. Now for the RTX 2080, it's worth it if you can find it for that price. It's worth it also for the RTX 2080 Ti only if you're paying $1,000 for that card. Now, yes, if you can find the RTX 2080 Ti, hell, I'll even buy it for $1,000. But any more than that, there is no value for the money here. Now, for the RTX 2080, for this price, for $710, $750, which you can find comfortably around the internet, which I think is from out of all the RTX cards, I think this card here has the most value for the money, which I would recommend. If you have a GTX 1080, you will gain roughly about 40% performance, and the games that supports DLSS, you're going to get about 60% more performance versus a GTX 1080. So I would recommend, if you have a GTX 1080, right, and you want to upgrade, get an RTX 2080. Don't go for a 1080 Ti. If you already have a 1080 Ti, in fact even 2, you don't even need to upgrade for right now. You don't need to upgrade one bit. Even if you have a 1080 Ti, there's no reason really to ditch a $600 or how many dollars you pay for that card, $600, $700 for GTX 1080 Ti, when you're only really spending an extra $700 above that card that you had. So that means you have to sell your 1080 Ti and spend more money to buy this card. How much money, it's up to you. I guess if you sell the card and buy this card, then I see that it's worth the price. If you sell your GTX 1080 Ti, let's say for $500 and you spend an extra $200, then yes, it's worth getting that card. Yes, the RTX 2080 for this price tag, for $710, $750, somewhere around that area. Any more than that, not really. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. That's the last thing I wanted to say. And comment down the section below, subscribe, like the video, click the bell icon on the side if you don't want to miss any new videos about RTX graphics cards, about computer PCs, about everything else that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about other things besides this. I could talk about Intel and Ryzen processors later on. I could tell you what the difference is. That's going to be another video. And this has been your host, Crimson Bounty Gamer. And peace. And have a nice day, guys.